Doing it. You supposed to be happy you sitting there with Kid L. Why you mad?
The Kid L podcast.
One. Dave Theo is in the building.
What's up, buddy?
Dude, so, I mean, obviously, the first time I heard your voice, I was like, what the heck is happening right now? I think we were on Instagram Live the first time.
Yeah.
I was doing, like, music reviews live, and then you came into the live, and you just dominated the whole live. Everybody was like, what's going on right now, man? And then I was like, telling Phil, I was like, Phil, let me sign him. I remember I told Phil, like, the next day, I was like, let me sign this guy. He's like, he's already situated, bro. But yeah, your voice stands out, man. I'm sure every time, you first sing for somebody, everybody's always in shock, right?
Yeah, that's typically the reaction.
Where'd the ability come from, my boy?
Well, I don't know. I did like choir in like 7th grade and then got in a fight the day of the concert. So I got suspended that day, couldn't do the concert. So I never sang in public at all. It was like my party trick, I guess. If I got drunk enough, people would beg me and I'd sing something. But then I sang at this party one night and my boy Joey was like, I just, signed this little investment deal. I'm doing this album at Royal House. So my first time in a studio was at Royal House, which was like, I was like dumbfounded when I seen it. I'm like, I can't believe that this is like, people come here and make music. So I made my first song that day. And like Roger and Julian at Royal House, they were like, bro, like you're good. Like this, you swear to God, it's your first time. I'm like, yeah. So at that point, I'm like, I got to do something with this. So I was a plumber. I quit my job, moved into Joey's couch in Clinton Township, lived there. His mom was cooking good. We were eating, making music. That was it, and then just kept going from there. I'm like, I can sing, so I just got better at it, mastered the craft a little more and more and more. And now I'm about 2.5 years in. Yeah. Just getting better, trying to get better.
Yeah, 2.5 years, bro. It's like, everybody's probably telling you, sounds like you've been singing for like a decade. Like you've been training, like you've been working with professionals to get your vocals down, but it's more of a natural thing. It just came out.
Yeah.
Because you did choir, right? But it's still like, it goes beyond just that, those lessons that you got there, right?
Yeah, I think the soul part of it comes from the music I grew up on. You know what I mean? It's like, my mom was, really young when she had me, and so a lot of times when she was working, I was at my grandma's, and my grandparents are about like 55, so all that music from the 70s, 80s, like that's what I was always listening to, so I think a lot of the characteristics I took were, from classics like that. So, now when I sing, my voice is kind of a mesh of all the people I love, take a little bit here, a little bit there, and kind of made it my own thing.
What's the combination? What artists are we talking about when you got the sprinkles?
I think it's like bro, I've hit some notes like Billy Joel before in a song, you know what I mean? I've hit some shit like Stevie, so it's like it's that soul. I think if modern day, I think you would classify it as like kind of like that Adele sound, that Ed Sheeran Adele, like pop soul.
Yeah.
Top 40 is what I'm, shooting for, but I don't want to. I want to shoot for top 40 because I think that's like your biggest market. You know what I mean? I think it's your best way to make it. You're making top 40. That's the goal. But I don't want to lose. I don't want to depersonalize it by trying to make it that. Right. I think naturally it's on a path of that, but it's not something that I'm like going out of my way to make. It's just sounding like that right now.
Right, like you're talking about the mainstream sound, right?
Yeah.
Like just going straight to it. But you want to kind of gradually build and develop like something more, just you want to go through the process. You don't want to just jump into it, sounds like.
Because I think if you take a singing voice and you make it too pop, you start adding these weekend type touches to shit. You make these little things that, like that the engineers and the people making the music will kind of lean it that way if you tell them to.
Yeah.
And that's the sound that you end up with at the end. I've had it happen and I don't like it. I want my vocals full. I love ballads, you know what I mean? Simple. I could make a song to a click track, click, click, click. I'll make a song to that. We can add it later. I mean, I don't do that, but real simple. Small piano keys, and then we'll add the other shit in post-production.
Yeah, man. So you're fully hands-on with it right now too, even on the professional level, because I was talking to you like a couple months ago. You were going to LA,
yeah,
and you were working with some pretty big names out there, man. Kind of walk people through your journey in LA.
Yeah, so the LA thing was like, because I have a guy who signed me named Chris, and it was basically like, hey, I'll put some money behind this. Let's figure it out together, you know? And so we've been running through it, and we got to a point where I couldn't find any more production in Michigan.
Wow.
Everything that I was kind of like, all the circles that I were in were very like indie rock or rap based. So I couldn't find any production. I still struggle with it, you know? So we're like, let's venture out into LA. So we called in some favors. He's friends with a guy named Paul Blair, who did like a lot of the Lady Gaga stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And so Paul, we flew out there and met Paul and got into this like really professional setting and started just making bangers out there. Found production, found like my professional side, I would say, you know, because before that it was all coming here to Parallel, and me and Phil would smoke, and you know, we'd mess around, we'd pull up a YouTube beat. That was like my first time where it's like, all right, like you need to be here at 11 and we're working till 11 tonight, and then tomorrow you got to be here at 11 again, and do that for 3-4 weeks straight.
Yeah.
So it made it work, but it made it like, I think when you're being that consistent and working that hard at it, we got some just gold out of that stuff.
Yeah.
Stuff that we didn't think that I didn't think that I could do initially. And it went really good. And then while I was out there, I ended up linking up with Big Sean.
Word.
Yeah, and then, you know, met him at the studio, and we made some stuff and talked about life in the city, you know. I asked him a lot of questions about like what is it like, you know, to grow up in a situation so similar to that I grew up in, to like now, you know, where he's at. And I really wanted to ask like how does that change your mind? You know what I mean? How does that change your brain? And through talks with him through the night, you know, it's like very normal guy, you know,
Yeah.
hasn't lost those touches. So that made that a goal for me to like stay Dave, you know. I think it's very important.
How did it come together where you guys ended up meeting and stuff? Like, did you manage, organize it, or like did it?
Yeah, so my manager is like really involved with the Sean Anderson Foundation, which is Sean's nonprofit. And his mom runs it, and my manager, you know, donates a lot and, you know, helps them with stuff, and they help each other. So his mom had reached out, like, would Dave be interested in signing, you know, with us or with Sean? We're like, yeah, you know, we'd love more information. And she made it clear, like, we're not there yet. I'm just, you know, we're testing the waters. We're reaching out. So, you know, we said we'd be down. We'd want to talk more about it. So when I went out there, my manager had told Myra I was out there, Sean's mom. And she called back, said, you know, Sean's at the studio tonight. You want to pull up? Or does Dave want to pull up there and, you know, see him, meet him? So I went there and hung out with him and Vito and, you know, all the guys working, listened to some of the new stuff, hopped on a track together, chopped it up about life, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so, yeah, that was how we got there.
That's cool as hell, man. And yeah, that's where your voice belongs, obviously, right? With like the guys who are doing it at the best of their abilities, right? Because like if you're doing anything lower than that, it doesn't make sense with the with how strong your voice is and the creativity behind your flows. Because even you not performed with us, but me, I have a band. I'm in a band.
Yeah.
And you came in the basement and you jammed out with us.
Yeah.
And when we heard you sing, we were like, whoa! Oh, so that's what a professional singer sounds like from 5 feet away, basically.
Yeah.
And so like, anybody who's in the underground or even building knows what the professional sound is like. Somebody who actually has that caliber to work in the mainstream and work with the pros, and like Big Sean being one of those people, right? Like you belong in that caliber. Now you worked with Babytron too. You worked in some hip hop. Hell of a orchestrated a song together, Money Flow, with you and Babytron, right? Talk about the orchestration of that and that difference of music that you're making there. Yeah,
I think so. Me and Helly have the same manager, Sed Louie. And so Sed had hooked me up with, like, Helly just sounded like some hangout shit, you know, like maybe like somebody's birthday or something. And we chopped it up there and, we got tight. So then Helly had that Tron track, and Helly's always thinking outside of the box, bro. Like, he'd be coming up with some, like, he's always on that, like, groundbreaking thinking type shit. So he's like, damn, like, I got Tron spitting this, like, the way Tron does. He's like, what if I threw a singing hook on there? So he called me up. I pulled up to the studio. We recorded it, and it ended up being, we all loved it. Helly loved it. Tron loved it. I loved it. So let's go further with this, shoot the video.
Yeah.
So then we shot the video at my crib. that was fun. You know, we had the pool, and you know, and then that ends up doing decent. I think it did. You know, for me, it did really good.
Yeah.
But I don't. It was my first. It was like one of my first songs to come out. You know what I mean? First song to come out with an artist who's on right now. You know, everybody else that I collabed with were all up and coming. You know, so to have that, it was a weird. It was great. It was great. It was great. I loved every second of it. But as being a singer, with that being the first song out, I think it put a lot of like preconceived notion as to what kind of music I make.
Yeah, right.
So everybody thought that I was like the hook singer for rap music.
Right.
So I got my first single coming out on this Thursday, July 27th, which is singing some soul shit, you know, from the heart.
Yeah.
So I'm hoping to, I don't want to like combat that narrative because I'm down to sing hooks, you know what I mean? I love it all. But I think that comes with just, to me, that's like well-rounded music, you know, creator. It's like, yeah, I'll jump on a rap song with Tron, you know, hopefully jump on one with Ray soon. Go from there, you know, and drop my own shit as well. Whatever takes off, whatever people love the most, we'll lean towards that a little harder for a little bit and then jump into the other stuff I love.
Right
know?
on, yeah. What you're doing, whatever makes sense is what it sounds like.
Yeah.
If it makes sense, let's work on it, right?
Mm-hmm.
But you wouldn't put yourself in a position where it doesn't really make sense for your music, like, you know what I'm saying, to be there. Like, a lot of people, when it comes to Detroit, you have to start from the bottom and go up. Like, you have to, you know, do those low-quality sounds and songs, and work at the clubs and, you know, perform at the clubs and do all that stuff and build it slowly and slowly and slowly. But you don't really match that, right, at the end of the day. Like, your voice is bigger than, you know, going from the bottom to the top, like, in the places that you have to perform in and the songs you have to might be a part of, right?
Mm-hmm.
Do you feel that way, or do you feel like you do have to go through that for yourself?
I feel like it was different. I would say it was a little less, like I wasn't trying to like break through on the, you know, through the rap scene or the pop scene or the country scene. Like I was just making music, you know what I mean? So through that, I used to run, you know, my boy Sev, he's got a brand, and, you know, I really worked with them like the whole beginning because they worked at my manager's building, you know, my investor, Chris, and, they worked there, and I got really tight with them, and I met a lot of like, I think it was a lot of like that, like pop, like that pop rock, like MGK style. You know, that was like the tip that a lot of them were on. A lot of rappers. So I kind of just naturally was with that group. And then through them, I meet Cedric and Helva and, you know, Nisha. And so I kind of just, you know, they presented opportunities and I followed that way. So it didn't feel like I was chasing it and then it happened. You know, it just kind of happened. So wherever it started, it's just kind of, you know, circumstance.
Yeah. Yeah, I see it. I see it in a lot of ways, too, where when somebody is a part of the scene like your manager is, they can see things in a different perspective that maybe you're putting yourself in because you trust that person and you trust his ideas and concepts and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. But even for your own journey, like how much are you in control of what you want to do, like specifically?
Completely. Like completely in control. I think that when I was in LA, it started getting less in my control and more like, you're going to do what we say if we're going to financially support this. And me and my manager talked about it, and we're like, I mean, we're not going to do it your way at all. Like, at all. It's not happening. So that fell out. But, you know, my manager was funding all of those LA trips. And now, you know, we get into it with the guys over there because they don't want to let me use the music if I don't have a distributor of their choosing. Mm-hmm. But I don't like the paperwork with the distributor of their choosing.
Right.
So, you know, then it gets into, well, you can't use the music then. And we wrote some of it. So either take out the parts that we wrote, make an agreement with the producer that's in with us, and then you can drop them. But it's just like, I'm not going to... In my head, it's like, I'm not going to beg. Like, I'll go make more. Bro, like, I was making like 2 bangers a day for 4 weeks out there on 4 different trips. You know what I mean? It's like 4 months of being in LA making music. I probably made 200 great songs, you know?
Yeah.
So I think it'll be better to just, what I did is just came home and made more.
And is there any ounce of you that looks back at that decision like, okay, this is like for sure, you know, not going their way isn't going to haunt you in the future or anything like that? Like, are you that confident?
I'm very like, if it doesn't work out, you know, like if it comes to a point where it's like, oh, I should have did that, I don't think I'll process it as I should have did that. It'd be like, you know, when I made my decision, I made my decision. You know, like, I think everything happens when it's supposed to happen, how it's supposed to happen. If that was supposed to happen, they would have came at me with, you know, better contract agreements and stuff like that, and I would have did it. So I think I trust my decision. I trust my work for the future, and, you know, if it works, cool. If not, you know, I don't think I'll regret it.
Yeah. I came to one of your shows at St. Andrews Hall, and you had a lot of people there, man. There was a lot of people waiting to watch you and singing along and putting the flashlights in the air and all that stuff, man. Like, you have a good cult following in Detroit. Talk about how you were able to kind of get this together where you're building a name for yourself around here, enough for people to pull up to your shows. Yeah.
Dude, it was honestly, so, number one, I have a huge family. 2 sides, mom's side and dad's side, huge family. I have a lot of friends. You know, I've always kind of been like the outgoing, you know, funny guy. I always had a lot of people around me. So that's who that crowd was formed of. You know, I'd say probably only 40 to 50 people were people that don't know me personally.
Still good.
But yeah, and everybody believes in the cause, and they've seen me going for 2 years now. And yeah, I grew up in Taylor and Allen Park, you know, so there's not really many people from around there that are hanging out with Big Sean, dropping songs with Baby Tron. So it's like when they hear somebody, you know, doing that, they were all these guys I went to high school with and girls, you know, really supportive. They want to be there at everything. So, you know, we booked the show by my boy Mikey Eckstein. He booked me to open last minute at, what's it called, in Pontiac.
Crowfoot?
Crowfoot, yeah. The Pike Room at the Crowfoot. Small venue. Opened up for a guy, and the crowd loved it. They went nuts. And that was my first time, like, doing a venue, you know, not something that, like, my manager owns or, you know, I think I came up on stage for a feature at, you know, like Taco Fest last year in Royal Oak. But that was my first, like, real one, and it went great. So he was like, do you think you could book the shelter, like, sell out the shelter? Like, I'll try, you know, I'll try. I said, I said yes, you know, but in my head, I'm like, I'll try. And so I just really pushed it hard, called everybody, messaged everybody, like, bro, I got this big thing, me and my manager bought tickets and gave them away and, you know, sold some merch to people and just everything I could do to fill that place up in hopes that it would transpire into more.
Yeah.
And, yeah, we sold it out. I had a live band with me, which we had just started practicing like 3 weeks before that. Mm-hmm. So they killed it, and, you know, it went great, as good as could go. And so now I'm just like, drop this song, play more. I want to play because live shows and stuff are kind of weird in the winter, you know? It's like summer, you got to hit it. So that was my last one this summer. So right now I'm like trying to like book more and more and more and get going. Yeah. Got the song releasing, like I said, so hopefully that'll build some traction to get more.
So this is your first song where it's just you?
Yeah, first ever. It's been like 2 years of getting there, but it was like what really sold me getting, you know, because I had been in meetings with Interscope too and C'est La Vie in Miami, and they had offered me a deal, and, you know, I didn't like that one either. But getting into all these meetings was me like playing on, like, I would sing for them and they'd be like shocked. And then I'd be like, I have no songs out, fresh slate, you know, like, and everybody was kind of taking it as like, I don't want to sound like pompous, but like, I found the one, I found the next one, I found it. And they'd take me to these meetings and stuff. But what I realized in the meetings is that they can build fame, you know what I mean? They can't build skill. So when they have it, they take it, and they tried to want it. You know, they wanted it, and they tried to take it. I wouldn't give it away. And I didn't really have a leg to stand on because I hadn't built any fame for myself yet, or a leg to stand on in that aspect of selling things. So my realization after Interscope and after LA was like, I'm going to come home, I'm going to do it myself. Like, I got a lot of people who support, like I said, from the Shelter show and Helava and, you know, Cedric and my manager and my boys. Like, we have a group that I could really try to give it a run on my own, and then I'll come back in the future. You know, if somebody wants to offer something, I'll come back with more ability to negotiate. You know,
Right, because there's leverage on both sides, right? Your leverage is your talent. Their leverage is their ability to market you and get you exposure to bigger access of networks and people and things and events that you might not have access to at the moment. So like both sides have like opportunity to it for each side. And then when you walk away from it and you can prove, hey, I can build your side without you, and then you come back with that leverage, like I did a lot of what you guys tried to offer me without you, and then they're gonna give you what you want. That's like the whole thing for them. Like they need to see that you can't do it, so that's what we have to offer you. Now that you're doing that now, what's been the process like? You're trying to build your own network, you're trying to build your platform up. And get yourself on the map here. So what's been the process? Walk us through everything that you've been doing.
It was like, number one, my socials were looking rough, you know? So it was like marketing team. Grabbed a marketing team. We've been getting it together, you know, posting more, coming up with, you know, plans of, you know, we're doing a little bit of everything, try to see what takes off, you know, what doesn't, what works, what doesn't. So that was step one. Step two, brought on said Louis as my manager, you know, full time. He's really got the ball rolling, got things figured out. Because, you know, there was things like I didn't have a Spotify set up. Like the only thing on my Spotify right now, if you look on my Spotify from the Tron stuff, I got like 8,000 monthly listeners, right? But like I wasn't sure like how to get my new music onto that same account because like I didn't create that Dave Vio page, you know? So I want to, you know, taking advantage of having those people listening already. You know, Sed kind of came in and formulated all that release date, you know, pre-save link, like got the photographer to my house for the cover photo. Really just got the ball rolling on things, you know?
Yeah.
And that's where we're at. We set the date for the first release. We're getting other songs in order that I had, making new stuff for, you know, upcoming release. And I'm really going to try to shoot for an EP by, like, fall. So I think I kind of have, like, a fall voice, you know? Like that fall, winter, like, you know, some love music type stuff.
So with all the deals that you got offered, even though you haven't had anything released really, for them, they just heard your voice. Like, you got to sing in front of them, or did they hear a tape, or, like, how did that work?
They, like, heard stuff about me, and then, like, they had heard my music through, like, Sed, and then would have me come out and like do it in person.
Yeah. Does it feel comfortable when you're like, or does it feel like a process, like a business process, like when you have to present in front of them or like showcase yourself, or is it comfortable?
It feels like business, you know what I mean? Because I mean, like, you are there for business, you know, but I love it. I love when it feels like it, because to me it never feels like work, it feels like progress, you know what I mean? So when I'm going out there and I know I need to have my game face on and I need to be ready to, you know, sing in front of these guys and hit shit perfect and make good music, like, for me, that's like progress. It's like, oh, they're interested in furthering my career. Like, let me be ready.
Yeah. Like, you're good with pressure. Like,
yeah.
Sounds like you're up for that challenge, right?
Yeah.
I mean, I've seen you do it, man. I've seen people like literally just tell you to start singing, and then like out of nowhere you can just start. Like you don't even like warm up really. You just get right into it. I've told I remember me and you were singing Van Morrison one night. We were literally like chilling, getting drunk as hell, singing classics and shit. Man,
it was great.
That was fun, man. You guys had those pool parties, man. Last
pool
year.
party.
You guys were going nuts, man.
Infamous.
You had Phil, man. Phil was always late and shit.
Shout out Phil.
Come in, go crazy, and do some UFC shit with his friends and whatnot, man.
Always, man. Coming to the party in gym clothes. I'm like, bro, you gotta go change, bro. Phil was so big it's like such a big part of my career. Like Phil, I was like chasing this music stuff with my boy Joey, who I said I was living at his house. We were chasing that, and we came up here. We were here like in the other room with a different engineer, and we forgot something up here. And so Joey knew Phil and hit up Phil like, "Hey, I'm about to pull up." So when we pulled up to get whatever he left, Phil was here, and Joey's like, "Bro, you got to sing for Phil." So I sang for him, and Phil was like, "Bro, like you use my studio whenever you want. Like, call me and you could do it." And that was like the hardest thing of that time was studio time. Because it's like, I didn't have a good whip. Like, I had a bad car. Like, I was trying to get to work. I was living out here. Like, I was broke. Every penny I was making was going to studio time. So when he, like, took that off my plate and was like, bro, just when I'm free, you're in here with me making music if you want to be.
Yeah.
I took advantage of that, and then we just became like brothers, you know?
Yeah, that I have a similar story. Like when we first were starting the podcast, we actually weren't even really starting the podcast. We were doing music reviews. And I made a post in my story. I said, is there a studio anybody can let me use to, record music reviews? And Phil was like the first person to hit me up. He was like, yeah, bro, come use my studio. We were shooting at the one across the street.
Yeah.
And then, the podcast started doing well. So Phil's like, bro, yeah, like do whatever you want, man. Like come, pull up, take what the time you need and come do this. He basically was just saying like, I really believe in you. At the end of the day, if he hadn't done that, it probably wouldn't be a podcast for real. Because I probably would have been like, fuck it. Like, like
sure.
all right, this is not going to work out.
That's how it goes.
Like I don't got time, man. But it's crazy when people believe in you, like you get access to a lot of stuff, right? Like if somebody believes in you, they'll give you studio time, they'll shoot your music video for free, they'll tell you to pull up events with VIP passes. If people really believe in you, they give you access to things to make you a greater artist or a greater entertainer. And you just have to prove your consistency and that you're really going to take it seriously for people to invest in you.
Yeah.
That's what a lot of people don't understand. Like everybody who's paying for literally everything, the reason you're paying for literally everything is because you're not working hard enough or you're just not offering something that, people want here or around here. You know what I'm saying?
And that's something that I've learned too so much is like, bro, if you're working hard, like people, like the wealthiest people I've been around, the most successful people I've been around, nobody gatekeeps information. Like, but you just have to know what questions to ask them. And if you know what questions to ask them, you're probably working hard and you're in the middle of it to ask like legit questions. But I mean, I've asked about like people's finances, which like you shouldn't really do that. You know what I mean? Like, but it's just like we're in deep conversation about this stuff and I'm asking a legitimate question. Like they know why I'm asking that question because they know that by them answering that question is going to further my understanding. You know what I mean? They don't gatekeep. They let you know.
Right. Yeah. That's the thing about gatekeeping is that, the only people who are gatekeeping information are afraid of what you can become because they might not be able to utilize you anymore or you become competition to some degree, right? So like if I'm an artist on the upcoming and I know so much stuff about the entertainment industry, I'm not going to go tell Doug, who's another rapper that's upcoming, everything I know, because if I spill, my information to him, it could help him prosper and get bigger and bigger, and that's like competition in my eyes, right? And then the other thing is if I'm using somebody like a cameraman, if I have a cameraman that I like to shoot with, I'm not going to help give him exposure because I'm worried about he's going to go find other business. He's going to start working with other people, and then I'm not going to be able to use them anymore. Yeah. So those people, at the end of the day, just have a massive insecurity in their own ability to build and grow and find new people to work with and to make it without it being somebody else that made them successful. They did it on their own. Those people are just afraid, basically. I've been around so much of that, dude. It was crazy. I remember being around people that I remember being in a room with a major rapper one time, and we were talking about this upcoming rapper. And he's like, everybody's like, you should do a feature with this guy who's coming up. And he's like, I'm not going to give him any juice. And he literally, the major rapper, he's like, I'm not going to give that guy any juice. I'm not going to help him get bigger than me. Why would I do that? But the thing is, you're stupid because at the end of the day, that guy's most likely going to remember that, honor that, build and grow. And you guys can collaboratively grow together. Yeah. You can do more songs together, get bigger together. Like with Drago and B&O be as big as they are if they didn't combine. You know what I'm saying? With Bang Gang and all their guys would be as big if they didn't combine. Doughboys Cash Out, if they didn't combine, would they be as big? You know? You gotta trust people. What up? We're back on air. Goddamn, we're high as hell. I'm high. Are you high?
No, I couldn't. I'm like, bro, when I get high, I just like...
Zone out?
I go close-eyed and... I start watching the TV and I'm done for the night. Start a little fire. Yeah. I'm done for the night.
Yeah, I'm gonna hit the gym after this so I can help alleviate all the anxiety from smoking weed. Yeah. What do you do? What do you do when you're not making music, man? What's your go-to stuff to keep you occupied?
Always with my family. Always with my family and with my boys. My boys are with me with my family. You know, I'm with their families. We're always doing something, man. Parties. I love throwing parties, bro. We've been throwing. I think I got the party mastered. I know how to throw a banger every time. Yeah. But that's all we did last summer, man. It was like music party, music party, music party. Like if we weren't working on music, we were, turning up at our pool. Yeah. So it's like, but this summer, completely different. It's been it's a 180 from last year. Last year is that's all it was. Every day was a party. You wake up in the morning, there's already people by the pool. Yeah. But this year, I haven't had one party yet. I've been locked in, man. Like, I think I realized last year that I was acting rich. And this year, I'm trying to get rich. You know what I mean? Like, I'm trying to, I don't even, not even rich. It's not about rich, it's about wealth. Like, I started viewing my music as like work, you know what I mean? Like my business, not even work, it's my business. Like I'm trying to grow it. I want it bigger. And it's like, I'm very like one track minded, you know? That's why I feel like that's why I'm where I'm at now with music after just 2 years, you know? Cause it's like, when I get something in my head, I want it. And last year with like the Tron stuff and like, I thought like, it's happening. You know what I mean? I took it as like it's happening. And then when it didn't bring to fruition exactly what I thought it would, I'm like, oh, well, duh. Like that wasn't like chance. You didn't work last summer. You know what I mean? You didn't work all summer. You just made little half-ass songs and, you know, it was like, acting like you were something, you know?
Well, yeah, because when you have like a substantial amount of talent and ability and you know your worth and you know what you can bring to the table, it makes you like, you can wait on it a little bit longer. Like, I already know I got the bag, so I can kind of wait on when I want to really push the bag, right?
Yeah.
Like, you know you can sing your ass off, you know you got that charisma and stuff. So for you, it's like, I could do this year, I could do it next year, the year after, so it makes you a little bit more complacent, like, I know I can do it whenever I want to do it. Yeah. That's how I used to be kind of, because I used to be like that. I used to be like, I used to feel like I was a lottery ticket. I used to be like, dude, I'm a fucking lottery ticket. Like, I can blow up whenever I want. Like, I can, and I to this day, I feel like I can blow up whenever I want. I feel like I can do whatever I want. If I want to go viral tomorrow, I can do that. If I want to have 100,000 followers to 500,000 followers tomorrow, I can do that. The reason I don't do it is because I like the authenticity of gradually building. Like, I don't like the forced effort or doing the things that are outside of my character to succeed. Yeah. Right at the end of the day. But also at the same time, you do get complacent when you know you got it. When you know you can do it, for some reason, you're like, I'll just do it when I want to do it, right?
And like this thing I had this thing in my head too where it's like, I had never pushed. You know what I mean? I never pushed to find success. I still firmly do believe in, like, you know, what's meant to be is going to be, like, fate. You know what I mean? Like, so I always would let things come to me. And so last summer, when they were coming, I started thinking, like, oh, they're just going to keep rolling in. Yeah, yeah. But then I realized quickly, like, bro, think about for a second the work that you put in for that year and a half before this. Mm-hmm. You got to keep the ball rolling. You know what I mean? You got to keep applying pressure. It's just don't push too hard. You know what I mean? Because then you'll end up losing. It's like that pushing the the boulder up the hill analogy. It's like you start pushing too fast, too hard, you're gonna lose it. You're gonna gas. Like, but if you just slow and steady, you know what I mean? Keep it going. Keep pressure. Keep foot on the gas, and be smart. Yeah, that's the biggest thing, is being able to be conscious of like all your efforts when you're involved in the entertainment industry. Like you said too, when you're hot, you're hot. You know what I'm saying? But then things can cool down and you forget like, oh, I have to keep applying pressure for this to stay warm and to get hot and to have those viral moments or to have the next pivoting moment in your career. So it takes a constant effort. Like it's tough to take breaks, man. It's easier to take breaks when you've accomplished something, like you've done something major, and then it's easier to take like little breaks in between. But when you're on the up and coming, it's much more of a deficit to take breaks, in my opinion. I think it makes it harder. People are seeing you inconsistent. It's a turnoff right away. Yeah. Plus, you're not really working on your craft or developing your craft. There's like a delusionality to it, like you said. Like if you get a little bit successful, like let's say you do a Baby Tron feature, or let's say I have cashed on my podcast, like there's a factor in your mind where it's like, oh wow, this has to be the biggest moment for me. This is a huge pivoting moment. This is going to be like a longevity, like big moment that's going to ride out for a long time. You realize that's not how it works. No, like you still have to, it gets over quick, and then you have to keep reigniting. Or else, why the hell would Drake keep making music? Or like, why the hell would Lil Wayne? Like, it's not just because I'm sure they would like making music too, but a huge part of it's like, we got to make fucking money here. Like we got to stay relevant. We got to make money. Like, you know what I'm saying? So with you, right now, you feel like after this single, do you feel like your foot's on the pedal fully? Like it's time to stay fully consistent, or are you still kind of like half foot in, half foot out? Yeah, I'm like 3 months ago because like I was just, like I said, I was focusing on LA up even through this last summer, up until like late fall was all LA. So when I came up from LA, I chilled for about like a month, like just planning, focusing, getting shit together. And then I hit it hard right after that, and I've been going, and like my brain and my plan set up for now is like for at least the next 8 months, which will bring me right back into next summer, time to tour. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
I think my plan is like drop a couple singles leading up to fall, drop EP for fall, ride that out for winter. Next spring, early spring, start playing that album live, booking. And then hopefully, it's sold enough to where we book bigger things,
Yeah, man. That's a good plan. It's like now like, okay, I got to stay on this shit. And then you're planning like, okay, by next year this time,
Yeah.
I'll be on the tours or wherever performing live. I'm sure you would dominate all these fucking festivals that they got in Detroit, man. How many festivals have you done?
I've only done, I said Taco Fest earlier, but it's actually Arts, Beats, and Eats.
Yeah.
I did that, and I'd keep doing these. But that's the only one that I've done. That, Crowfoot, and the Shelter.
Okay, yeah.
That was it.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure once you start getting out live more, you do open mics though, like, right? I see you on Instagram a lot at the open mics and stuff.
Yeah, well, I'd be like going to there's a spot down the road, Joey B's. Mm-hmm. They've been doing karaoke on Tuesdays, so I'm tight with all of them. I'll go up, get a drink, sing a song, hang out. But it's funny, man. It's a great time always.
What is people's reaction usually to you after they hear you sing?
They want me to go again.
For real?
Always. It's like, always, one more. And, like, I used to get so annoyed, like, when people be like, sing. But now I'm, like, shifted my whole mindset on it. I'm like, dude, it's what you want. Like, you know what I mean? I'm waiting for everybody to want me to sing, you know? So why get irritated by it when they want to hear it? That's part of the job. You're on duty,
What is some differences you noticed from when you're in, working with the mainstream artists versus like working out here? Like you said, you kind of maxed out all the studios here that offered what you needed, so you had to get to a higher level. What was like the difference of going from a studio here locally to an LA studio?
I think that it wasn't the studio, you know what I mean? It was more the people doing the sound I needed. So like studios are fine. I need production. Still, I need production, and it's like it's simple. You know what I mean? Like it is like my beats are simple. It's basically piano and some drums. You know what I mean? But I couldn't get anybody that also had the vision, and I was struggling with communication, because that was like my biggest learning curve. Like when I started working with Phil, was like how to express what I needed done from the booth to the computer. You know what I mean? So learning that lingo and like what to say to him, like the difference between having something like, loud or full. Like it's such a difference that you have to like train your ear to hear, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So that took a lot of time, and I think that that's what it was on the production side as well. Going to LA really increased my like professionalism and vocabulary. So when I came home, I was able to pull these puzzle pieces of people that I knew already and explain to them what I need. And, they're not dumb. They're very good at what they do. They just haven't necessarily been in those situations yet. But when I explained to them, I need this, they understood, and they got the job done. And, now I've brought production, got production in Michigan now.
How many songs do you have in the vault right now that you are able to release?
Probably 100.
Damn.
And altogether, I probably have like 300. Just unreleased gold, bro. I swear to you, there's probably 30 Grammys in there. There's gotta be. There's some good, and I'm like not trying to be pompous, cocky, but there's some shit that makes me cry when I re-listen to it. I'm like, damn, because it's just like full circle, you know what I mean? Sometimes I hear some shit and I'm like, bro, 3 years ago you wouldn't sing unless you were hammered and begged, like
man.
I had to be drunk and somebody had to beg me to do it, because I wasn't trying to like. I didn't want to be like the center of attention, you know what I mean? Like I didn't like it. I wanted my center of attention to come from like cracking jokes, being the funny guy. When it was something serious, which, with music, I get vulnerable on my tracks, it just felt like people like, I didn't want people to know that much about me.
Yeah.
But, through singing now, it's like, a lot of people like depend on music to get through their days, like, because I know I do, like, I'm listening to music all day, everything I do, clean my room, music playing, in the whip, music playing, in the shower, music playing, like, I always got music on, so, like, if that can, like, give somebody something to listen to, make them happy, sad, like, whatever they need for that day, cool.
Yeah, that's facts, bro. This shit does get you through movies, TV shows, games. A lot of shit gets you through stuff, but music's that thing that you can be doing something. You can be doing anything and listening to it at the same time.
Yeah.
Like with a movie, you can't be like walking your fucking dog, like, it's not like, ah, shit, there's the TV screen, that type shit. Like, music, you could just like look around and be free, and changes your vibes, man. I've been listening to like a lot of, like, I did notice, because somebody was saying online that the stuff you listen to can actually affect you.
Yeah.
So I've been like kind of getting away from the darker stuff. Like I was listening to like a lot of John Frusciante and shit, and like just darker fucking music, and now I'm like, let's chill out, man. Let's get some Red Hot Chili Peppers going. Let's fucking calm down for a second, bro. It can't be sad. Like whatever you digest, like can change your day. Like I was watching like horror movies and shit, and I started noticing like I was getting more like fucking tense and angry throughout the day. You know what I'm saying? It's
so important, bro, because music, like, there are not many things that directly change your mood like that.
Yeah.
Like, if you're sad and you turn on a sad song, bro, it's 10 times, you're 10 times sadder. You're happy and you turn on a banger, you're that much higher.
Yeah.
It hits you so direct, man. Like, I remember my first trip in LA, bro, my boys were getting pissed because we had it was a group of us, and we had 2 drop-top Mustangs that we rented just from the car rental. And I mean, bro, I probably played that, my life, my life, my life, my life in the sunshine. I played that song, bro, 600 times, bro. Every time we got in the car, I dropped top. I'd be like, I didn't have the rentals there. My boys, and I'd be like, come on, let me drive for a minute.
That's on too, man. Like, if I'm like, I like listening to sad music so much, like that sad, like heartbreak music, that sometimes I'll just like pretend my girlfriend broke up with me, just so I could sit in the corner and just be like listening to like this heartbreak music. Oh, like, yeah. Like,
bro, I had this moment with I'm real tight with my grandma, like really tight, and I was like, I sent her a song, and she always loves them, you know what I mean? But this time she texted me back, she said, like, what's with all the love songs? Like, you don't stop with the love songs. And I called her, and I started thinking, I'm like, man, bro, like, I've never really even been in love like that. You know what I mean? Like, in love. Yeah. I think that, and so I called her, and I'm like, bro, I'm like, Nana, am I a phony? Like I'm singing about love songs. And then what she, like, broke down to me, like, from what she sees in me, and, like, and then what I, like, really thought about and learned is, like, I'm a very, like, if you are explaining something to me that you're feeling heavily, like, when I'm listening, it's like I'm feeling it. You know what I mean? Like, I'm feeling what you're saying. Like, if you're sad and it's because your girlfriend broke up with you, it's like, man, like, I'm sad that your girlfriend broke up with you. You're probably going through this and going through that and going through that. What would my mind do in that situation? Damn, like, I'd be hurt, you know? So it's like, I think that's what my songs are based off of, like, these things that I've felt through, like, empathy, you know?
Right, that's what I was going to say. Like, you have a lot of empathy and compassion for people, and so their stories affect you, and you're able to translate that in your own way through your music.
Yeah. And, like, you know, it's not all like that, you know? Like, I've had, like, your small heartbreak, you know? So it's like, but, like, I don't know if I don't feel things that way, but I don't usually ever get, like, devastated. You know what I mean? Even at bad news, like, even when, like, my grandpa passed away, you know, a couple months ago. And it's like, it just came with this weird acceptance of, like, the circle of life, bro. It's just like, yeah, like, what, was he going to live forever? No, like, made me think back on, like, I channeled that, like, sadness into, like, gratefulness of, like, what the times we did have, the stories we have, you know, like, it's hard for me to be devastated because not one thing rules my world. You know what I mean?
Right. I think it might depend. I don't know, because I was the same way when my grandma passed away. But like when my friend passed away, it was like, fuck. Like, I remember that being like hard. I think it depends on a lot of stuff, like how close you are, and also like the circumstances and all those things. Because if somebody's life ends tragically, that's more of like a fucking wake up. Like, oh, what the fuck just happened? Like, this is intense. But if it's like somebody you're kind of expecting to pass away, it might be a little less intense.
Yeah, like, I think, like you said, like a grandparent where your whole life you know that the natural path of things is going to be them first.
Yeah.
But I mean, I couldn't imagine, like, if one of my boys passed, like.
Yeah, man. I had in 2000, my closest friend passed away when I was like probably 21. We were working together all the time, and like I remember getting the phone call in the morning. And, like, in the beginning, you're a disbelief. You're a disbelief to the point where, like, when the person, like, my friend told me he was dead, I was like, what do you mean dead? Yeah. And then once he was like, no, like, he's dead. I was like, wait, what's happening? Like, then my eyes opened up. I was, like, fucking going nuts. We all cried together. Took us weeks to get over it. Actually, I stayed numb for it for a long, long time. And then one day my mom knew like I was holding it all in. So she just like kept saying stuff about him, like positive things about him. And I busted my eyes just went nuts, bro. It was like a waterfall, son. Like just going crazy thinking about like I didn't accept that he died for like weeks, but it was still very painful to go to. And then when I accepted it, it was even more painful. I was like, holy shit, dude, like he's really gone. Even to this day, sometimes I'm like, bro, what? Like you just
don't make sense.
Yeah, it doesn't make fucking sense. The younger people are, it's like harder to imagine, I guess, like them passing away because everybody thinks they're. I was reading this fucking meme today. It was so crazy. It was like, yeah, half the year is already done. Get your fucking shit together. Let's go. Like you're dying every day. You're fucking dying. Like get your shit together. Go. And so when people die, it makes you realize that, like, damn, bro, we are getting closer to death. Like, death is a reality, and we're getting closer to it every fucking day, bro.
Yeah.
You can't fuck up these next 30 years, man. How old are you?
24.
Yeah, well, you can fuck around a little bit longer.
Yeah,
man.
I don't want to. I don't want to.
You can fuck around and then one day figure out, like, man, fucking around wasn't worth it, dude.
Yeah. Bro, I get such anxiety just about, like, bro, 6-month spans go by like nothing. And when I think of like the length of me and music, which feels like it's been like a chunk of my like living life, but really it's only been 2.5 years, it like broadens my thought of what 6 months is. It's like 2 years ago, you changed your whole life in 6 months, like whole life from job to everything in 6 months. So it's like, bro, 6 months is a lot of time. Like if you don't get something done in 6 months, which goes by very fast, like you're going to look back on it and be sick.
Yeah.
Because I've done it. I've done it for a lot of 6-month spans where I look back and I'm like, man.
Yeah, I used to wake up sometimes like after like realizing how many years I wasted, and I used to be like, well, that's it. It's the rest of my life. So we're like, all right, fuck it. Like,
Guess I can get drunk and smoke weed now.
Yeah, I can like go into an acceptance about it. Like I'm just gonna play video games and shit. Like fuck it. Like who cares? But then like I'll snap out of it. I'm like, nah, man, you gotta get shit. You gotta get like, what are you gonna do? Either you're gonna sit there and cry about it, or be defeated about it, or you're gonna get up and like make something happen for the remainder of your life.
Yeah.
Dude, I swear, bro. Sometimes I'd be chilling like, damn, bro, it's over already. Like,
bro, I'll have some days like that, bro. Like the other day, it was just not going good. From the moment I woke up, it was like I was waiting on some answers to some things. It was like answer I didn't want, bad answer, bad phone call. Bro, I was just like, I'm done. Like I'm done for the day. Shut the phone off.
Yeah.
Fucking sat down, started playing the game, and like while I was playing the game, I had music playing. And I thought, yep, this is it.
Yeah,
this is life now.
It's over, right?
It's all over.
I always think about that. Like, if my Instagram ever got deleted, I'm like, damn, man, that's it. It was a good run.
It was a good run.
I was kiddo. It was tight.
I don't got that in me again.
I don't think I can do it twice.
I'd call Phil, be like, hey, bro. Be like, what up? Like, you want to go get drunk?
You know what I do? Sometimes they go, I mean, this is how powerful social media is. I do wonder sometimes, like, if somebody was like, look, you're going to be successful in the industry and everything, but you're going to lose your Instagram. Like, you're going to be, like, somehow successful in Hollywood, but, like, your Instagram's going to be gone, and you can't, like, start one up again, like, the same way. I'm always like, damn, like,
you'd have to hit your Twitter, your Boosie on Twitter.
Yeah, I'd have to go on Twitter, but I also think about, like,
I gotta feed my family.
But that's how powerful social media is, though. It's like, okay, you take away all social media, but you're famous. Like, you know, you're in Hollywood, everybody, like, you're Brad Pitt, like, fucking everybody knows who you are, but you can't use social media. Like, it's so trippy how I think this generation would be, like, second guessing that. Like, I don't know, bro. Like,
yeah,
I can't fucking post and shit. Like,
it'd be like the 60s and 70s, you know?
Yeah.
Motown would take back off.
Yeah, fuck, man. I don't know. That's an interesting thing to think about. Like,
it would be weird.
Yeah, no social media, but you're fucking famous.
That would be so strange. It'd probably be nice, you know, because then once you're in the house, you're done. You know what I mean?
Yeah, pretty much.
You're done for the day.
Yeah.
Now it's like you go do your thing, you deal with your shit, then you get home, you open up the phone. It's like, you know, it just opens the door for so much more opportunity for things to like, bro, socials affect my mental health. Bro, when that Baby Tron video dropped, and the numbers I was watching the numbers go up and go, and I had never had any views of any kind, you know. So I watch it hit, you know, 100,000, 150,000. It's going up, and I'm like getting all these messages and stuff. I was thinking like, you know, man, I just lost my whole point. Maybe it is a little smoky in here.
You were talking about how you were getting all these views and you weren't used to it because you'd never had any type of views before. Then you dropped the Baby Tron video. Is it partially to do with the comments and like receiving?
There
things?
we go.
Yeah.
There you go. You got me back. So yeah. So when the Tron video dropped and I was watching it go up, bro. There was a point where I knew when the comments would go from 30 to 31, and I was just like a hawk reading them. And I get on the phone with Chris, one of my managers, and I'm like, bro, they hate it. He's like, what do you mean they hate it, bro? He's like, go look at the #1 comment, and it was like, something about the chorus, and I'm like, damn, like that's how much it had just distorted, just a couple bad comments distorted my view on this entire project.
Yeah.
It hit me hard. And then I'm usually not the type of guy who needs to learn more than once. You know what I mean? I'm sure that's something, in the future that I may have an issue with. But on that song specifically, once I realized what I was doing and like made that thought not have any say-so in my brain anymore, it was like I was good. And everything was back to normal. I took everything for what it was. But as I was reading them, it was tearing me up, Yeah. I was watching so hard, waiting to see what somebody had to say. And then I thought, I like it. Tron likes it. Helly likes it.
No, there was a lot of, like you said, there was a lot of good comments, and there was like a few select, obviously, comments, people being negative or whatever the fuck. And I remember even me and you had talked about it at that time, like going through that, because I deal with that shit like 24/7, basically. Like anything I post, it's like constant, like blah blah blah.
I'd hit you up about it.
Yeah, and like I remember the day that I learned, it was like I was reading some really messed up messages about me and comments about me. It was crazy. Like, it was just all bad news. And then one day I was like, bro, this is success. Like, these people talking bad about me or making bad comments about me, or the contrast of positive comments and negative comments, that's what success is. That's what success is when you're seeing positive and negative comments. It's better than not seeing any, and it's, better than just seeing all positive, because even all positive can kind of trip you out sometimes. Like, there has to be somebody who doesn't like you, I guess, at the end of the day. But yeah, it was tough, man. People were calling me culture vulture. People were saying this and that and this. And I'm like reading this shit. I'm like, this is fucked up. But at one point, I just stopped caring. I was like, this is hilarious. I just started laughing at it. I was like, this is actually kind of hilarious. Yeah. The only thing that ever still bothers me till today is when people comment incorrect information. Like if somebody says, like, one thing that...
There's a fake news.
Like a lot of stuff where like... So like, here's one thing that I really, really don't like. So I'll interview somebody and we'll post it, and then somebody will comment saying like, why are you interviewing this dude and you're not interviewing people from like Detroit or the city? I'm like, what are you talking about? Like, dude, go look at my last post was a very well established music video director from Detroit, and then there was a rapper before that, and then there was a comedian before that, and then there was a lawyer before that. There's all these people from Detroit, but you're focusing on the one guy that wasn't from Detroit, or the one guy that you just didn't like that he was on my podcast. So it's like, once you start seeing how people will just be negative with you just to be negative with you even though their information is incorrect, then it's like, all right, we got to stop paying attention to negative comments here. These are people who are just being selective about hating on you for whatever reason. They have the time to do it. So you got to focus on the people who are like being positive and promoting you versus the people who are negative. Yeah. But you got to have both. I'm not going to lie. Like if you don't have negative comments, I don't trust you, bro.
Well, bro, it's the balance of life. You know what I mean? With as much good as you're going to get, as much bad as you're going to get. And it's just finding that balance and finding that neither of them matter. You know what I mean? Grateful for the good, dismissive of the bad.
What was like a highlight moment for you so far in everything you've done with the music so far?
Probably the stuff with Big Sean. Yeah. That was the coolest, because it was like, we formed a friendship, you know what I mean? I went with him right after that to, in Chicago, Lollapalooza. He gave me some tickets to Lollapalooza. We went out afterwards, so it was like, that experience and like, actually chopping it up about like, and it wasn't even all about music, you know what I mean? Like really just chilling. It was like the coolest thing for me, because I'm like, we're having intellectual conversations, you know what I mean? Like we're talking about real shit here. Like it was cool. And then on top of it, it's Big Sean. Like I sat outside in the snow at the Detroit parade just to, wave at this guy driving by in a Mustang when I was little, So it's like now in the studio chilling. Makes me feel good about where I'm putting myself as my career, rooms I'm getting myself in, and how I'm handling those, So that was a big one for me.
Yeah, man. That's like I said earlier, when you don't just get to be in rooms with people that are well accomplished and have a certain level of success in the entertainment industry. Like, you can't just be in a room with anybody like that has that tier of success. Like, that means that you're supposed to be there at the end of the day.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, you're supposed to be in those rooms, and then you guys chilling afterwards is even a bigger sign that's like, you know, you fit in with that persona that most entertainers need to have, which is like a humble soul that is eager and that, you know, stays humble and all that stuff. So they probably sense that within you, because you're pretty like your voice is so fucking crazy that sometimes I'm like, damn, if I was Dave, I'd be fucking leather jacket, motherfucking walking with a fucking no shirt, just jacket.
I do be doing something like that at home.
Do it?
Yeah, out and about. But you just seen, we went to this Halloween. We got a booth at this big party at the Masonic Temple. Bro, I dressed like Nacho Libre.
For real?
Yeah, so I got no shirt. I had a cape on with the mask.
That's funny.
It was great. Dude. Everybody loved it. But yeah, dude,
that's the type of shit I'd be doing all day if I was you. Yeah,
that's right again.
Is there any so you got this project coming on? Talk about the project again, man.
Yeah, July 27th, I'm releasing the song Never Be Alone.
Word.
And I mean, it's just about like, bro, my whole life I've like always like kind of like been harder like on people who are emotionally there for me the most. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Who are like, and I think that comes from a place of knowing they're not going to leave your side.
Mm-hmm.
So instead of pushing that button more and more and more, because I know they're not going to go anywhere, you know, I just started to like embrace it as like, embracing that they were there alleviated me doing actions that felt, because I always felt like, you know, like I didn't maybe deserve that, you know what I mean? So those were really just like an attempt to push it away, you know? So through that, I found, you know, like I'll never be alone. You know, if you got people like that are so there for you, bro, like you can never be alone, which, you know, just fixed so many more problems in my life. And I thought when I made that song that it was all about that, you know, being good to that person, or that person being good to you when you're bad to them. It kind of like, if you keep taking advantage of that, like you're kind of the piece of shit. You know what I mean? Like you are the piece of shit. Like they're being good to you and you're abusing that.
Right.
So when I stopped doing that, it came with maturity. You know, like I think that was such a big thing in my life and a big change for my mental that I'm like, it makes the most sense for this to be the first song we release.
Yeah, no, I'm psyched about that. You know, I think a lot of people do that. I think a lot of people do take for granted like the people that support them the most. You know, like my mom used to tell me about my uncle. She used to say like he was so like supportive of other people, but when it came to his own family, like the people who actually loved him and cared for him, he was like very shut off.
Yeah.
And like not the same person, you know what I'm saying? And that, who knows, it could be a lot of different reasons for a lot of different people. But the conscious effort that you're taking to be like, you know what, I'm not going to do that anymore. Like I'm going to make the shift to be joyful around these people and be caring around these people and embrace their care for me too, right?
Yeah, because I mean, it's just like, just because they love you doesn't mean that you get to, you know, that they're there to like share the burden of these things that you're going through. You know what I mean? If you're stressed or you're angry, I would find myself coming home and like letting it out on them. You know what I mean? Whether it be girlfriend or, you know, whatever it may be. And it's like, all right, they don't deserve that. You know what I mean? Handle it. Figure it out. Like, you're a man, figure it out. Like, do not put it on them by being a piece of shit when you get home the only time of the day that they have with you and you're grumpy and angry. It's like,
yeah,
be good to them. And those relationships got so much stronger when I quit doing things like that. The trust in me came back, you know, so much more. Because I was never like a piece of shit, but I'd find myself being grumpy all the time and just from outside stresses, bro. It's like they don't deserve that. Like they're there for you, they're rocking with you. Like you got to be good to them.
For sure. This is an awesome talk, my boy. You know, we're gonna have more of these, but this is the first of many. Like I said, man, your voice is incredible, bro. Hopefully people get a chance to check it out with this new single. You know, I'm gonna be listening to it because like there's a lot of relatability in it. Plus, I fuck with you heavy. Look forward to it dropping. I'm still high, fellas, so bear with me. But we're at Parallel Sound Studio, High Low Visuals, shooting these productions. Phil sucks ass. We're out. Peace.
Peace.